Hi, today I want to talk to you a little bit more about cleansing from an Ayurvedic perspective. In previous videos, I've discussed Panchakarma, the 5 cleansing measures that are done as a part of a detailed cleansing and rejuvenation process. Before we get into this video's content, I'd like to just emphasize that Panchakarma is not a mono diet, although it includes a very simple diet. It is not the therapies that are associated with Panchakarma, like warm oil massages, Shirodhara therapy, and so on. These treatments are done as supportive measures both before and during the Panchakarma process in order to assist the body in releasing the metabolic waste, excess dosha, vata, pitta, kapha. It helps to open and dilate channels, and it has an effective way, a powerful effect on the body's ability to release these metabolic wastes when it can't necessarily buck up and do it on its own effectively. When we are experiencing a health crisis, it starts to become difficult for the body to reestablish balance on its own. But when we are relatively balanced, and for the most part our body's systems are online, we can cleanse without a quote-unquote cleanse. And that is done by following good, healthy diet and lifestyle. One good example is before we have a cup of coffee or tea or juice or anything else in the morning, we simply just drink water. Rather than jump up and go and get so busy with our day that we forget to have a bowel movement, we sit. We have some time for relaxation, yoga, having a meal where we're able to sit and be present with the food that we eat, with the people that we're eating it with, rather than being on a cell phone, checking emails, and so on. These are ways that we allow the body to communicate with us. And we get a little bit of a check-in. If we're constantly bombarding our senses with experiences, it's hard for us to listen to the body's cues. But if we are nourishing well, resting well, exercising well, and having space in our life to listen to the body's cues, then we get to experience Ayurveda in a living way. Ayurveda can be presented to us by teachers, books, the ancient texts of Ayurveda, but truly Ayurveda as a science comes alive in our own bodies and minds, in our own life experience, in the laboratory of our own body. And this is a practice that first starts with the teacher and the teachings, but eventually takes root within us. And how it takes root within us is through abhyasa, through regular persistent practice, just like yoga. So I'd like to share with you a little bit about Ayurveda's view of cleansing on a day-to-day level. One of the best ways to support the body's ability to be able to effectively digest, absorb, assimilate, and eliminate is to allow enough space between meals. Eating snacks strategically based on our abilities to digest them and our needs for them. If we don't have an appetite between meals and we allow enough space between meals, it allows whatever food has been presented to the body's digestive fire, Agni, the Jatara Agni in the stomach, to properly digest the food we've eaten, which can take 2.5 hours. If it's a very heavy meal or a rich meal, it might take a little longer than that. And then that allows the ahara rasa, the chyme, the food stuffs that are processed in the stomach, emulsified, broken down, and made in a sense like a soup for the small intestine to be able to grab hold of that. And if we're constantly eating, then what's in the stomach can't properly digest well, and what's prepared for the small intestine is not assimilated and absorbed well. And then it goes down the line. And if we're not digesting well, we may have more methane formation. We have more gas, bloating in the large intestine, and that can lead to further problems. So simply just allowing enough space between meals is a healthy way to support our body's own digestive process, which has a trickle-down effect all the way to elimination. And then being present with our meals. being present with the food that we eat, the people that we're eating with, that social connection and that community feel, that food in a sense is an integral part of. That's the sacrament in a sense. We're preparing food together, eating together, nourishing. And we may not be preparing food with other people, but we're at least present with the food we eat, present with that process of digestion. If we're bombarding the senses with lots of experience and we're not present at mealtime with the food that we're eating, we're not as mindful of its taste, or even chewing our food. If we're rushing, if we're not paying attention, we may not chew as well as we should, which can over time affect digestion. We may eat too quick, not chew too well, and so on. Sometimes we eat this wonderful food and we miss the experience of the wonderful flavors that it may contain because we've eaten too quickly. We in a sense are like on autopilot. It's like being in your car and winding up in your driveway and realizing you weren't even paying attention to the whole ride home, and that you were in your head in a story. So one of the ideas of Ayurveda is being present with life, right? Because it's the knowledge of life. It's the science of life. Veda is like that knowledge, that teaching, that wisdom that comes from presence, the being present with Ayush, with this Ayurveda is this concept of Ayu is life itself, Ayush. And if we are present with life, then we gather knowledge and experience from it. And this comes back around to, well, what dietary philosophies are important for us? What practices are important for us? Well, Ayurveda can lay out a plethora of practices and ideas and guidelines and lists, but where do we fall into those lists on an individual basis without getting caught up in the minutia of things, without being overly restrictive when it's not appropriate or needed, is listening. Listening to what our body needs. If we have kapha predominant condition in our body and we are eating ice cream and lots of cheese and heavy damp forming foods and sugar, do we need to actually stop eating an avocado? Maybe not, right? But on the list it might say avocado because avocados are cool food. They're fatty food. They're dense and wet food. So in a sense they're kaphagenic in nature. But an avocado might be fine for you, providing that you remove the foods that are going to be much more of causative factors of this kapha imbalance. And that's all very specific to your needs, and this is where we need to practice on our own. First, eliminating things that might be the most causative factors in the condition, and then getting more strict as need be. Rather than removing everything, throwing the baby out with the bathwater and missing the wonderful nutrients that an avocado or a cucumber can contain. Okay? So this process of cleansing starts at home, starts with our meal times, our space between meals, proper exercise. Our bodies are designed to move. If we don't move, we stagnate. If we stagnate, our digestive fire stagnates. The more inactive we are, the more weight we can accumulate. I know there's a lot of clickbait ideas that, well, if you want to lose weight, stop doing cardio and all that. I don't want to get caught up in that debate. All I want to say is if the body as a machine is going to function properly, it is designed to move. And even on an emotional level, if we are doing more, like working in the yard, working in the garden, getting out for walks, going for hikes, playing and having fun, maybe sports or just activities that get our body moving, it has a refreshing feel in the mind. It makes us feel good. We're always looking for the right herb or right medication or something to fix our mood. That may be appropriate at times, but actually moving the body, getting outside under the moon and stars, in the sun and the breeze and the fresh air, and working the body a little bit, making it a little bit tired, feeling our breath. These are things that are important for our body's well-being. Just proper exercise, proper sleep. We may work all day and we say, oh gosh, we get home, It's my only time to get to do the things we want to do, and I get that. It's important to have time with family and with loved ones. But are we resting well? Is the quality of sleep rejuvenating for us? Are we running on empty? And so there's so much that we can get into around sleep hygiene and sleep habits that we don't have time for in a short video, but sleep. So these are the main pillars of life. Our nutrition, our activity and exercise, our rest, and are we enjoying our life? Is life a heavy burden from one responsibility to the next? But do we have time to let go of our responsibilities, even in just meditation? But more importantly, not just meditation, but actually engaging in life directly on a day-to-day basis in everything we do. And that includes play. That includes fun, hobbies, activities that we enjoy that just, make us happy to be alive. So this is just a little bit about supporting the body's own ability to digest, absorb, assimilate, and eliminate the foods that we are eating, the beverages we're drinking, and the experiences we're having. Because metabolic waste on one level is physical. On another level, there's a concept of mental ama, where our body, our experience of life, mentally and emotionally, is not integrated well. Just like food that's not digested well isn't integrated into our tissues, and what is needed is taken in, what isn't needed is eliminated. Same thing with our senses on every level. And that's where meditation is like fasting for the mind. And it allows our bodies, it allows that sadhaka pitta, that flame of intelligence and pitta in the mind to burn bright and for us to integrate. But that can also be on a psychological level as well. Okay, so on psycho-spiritual health, doing meditation, having time to just relax and release from the responsibilities of life and create space for us to feel happy. Okay, hopefully that is informative to you. Click subscribe if you want to hear more about my videos on Ayurveda. Take care.